Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First U Sunday morning, a whole new manifestation of our faith at the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief and the forms of that love keep growing and changing with the times. I'm Reverend Elizabeth Lerner McClay. I'm the parish minister at First U, and it is really good to be with you this morning. We're going to start with our chalice lighting, as we always do. So if you haven't got a chalice or a candle with you, why don't you pause this for a moment and go get it so that we can light our chalices together. And we'll say the words we always say, adding in the word hope into the litany that we say every Sunday morning. So if you're ready. This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights our path towards harmony and justice and hope for all. So here we are together, and this morning I want to talk to you about listening to your heart. This is a time when it is really hard to do that sometimes. There's so much to think about, so much to plan for, and provision and strategize, and just making time to just sit with how we feel and what our heart might be telling us can be really hard to do. And I think it's really all the more important to do that because I think our hearts have something to tell us, especially now, about what we need and sometimes about what we need to do. So an illustration I have for you of that is a reflection that was written by my good friend, the Reverend Vanessa Southern. It's in her book, This Piece of Eden, and it's called The Wake Up Call. And she talks about how many, many years ago, when she was just starting out in ministry, she had a friend who was worried about her safety, and they gave her a personal alarm, which was just a super loud little alarm that she could carry around in her pocket. And she usually didn't need it, but in case she ever did need it, she could just set it off really quickly. And she put it in her pocket. She never needed it. Months went by. She forgot it was there. She accidentally set it off after a very tiring day. And she was completely unaware that this had happened. So the alarm starts going off and she hears it, but she doesn't realize it's her. And so she's thinking, oh my gosh, there must be something happening there. She goes about her time. She goes down into the T because this was in Boston. She comes up at a different stop. There's still alarms going off. And she's thinking, must be some old leftover thing from the Cold War, or maybe something is malfunctioning because nothing seems wrong. A few people ask her, what's up with the alarm? And she's like, I know, I have no idea. And she keeps going through her day. She walks into a grocery store. She asks a clerk where she can find the popcorn. And the clerk says, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you where you can find the popcorn if you tell me what's up with the alarm. And she says, I know, what is up with the alarm? It's been going off for ages and I have no idea what it is. People keep asking. I have no idea. Why would I know? And he says, because, lady, it's coming from you. And she realizes it is coming from her. It's in her coat pocket. So she grabs it and turns it off and is just stunned that she's gone through her day completely unaware that she was the source of this alarm. It seems incomprehensible. And it's such a great illustration. Well, it's a great illustration of many things, but among other things, it's a great illustration of ways that we can be completely unaware about alarm we are carrying in ourselves, even when we think we're noticing it. There's something underneath that we're not paying attention to, especially the ways that it's rooted in ourselves, coming from us, and what we can do about it. These are alarming days, no question. And I'm not saying that there isn't anything to be alarmed about, but I am saying that there's parts of it that just have to do with things we ourselves are feeling in our own lives, about our own selves, about our own health, about the health of a loved one. And the pieces of it that aren't about strategizing and thinking our way through and being foresightful, the pieces that are just about figuring out what we're feeling and what we need to do in order to meet that feeling and respond to it, is something we ourselves can only do, each of us. No amount of information is going to help us figure that out. It's really not about information. It's about making time to sit with ourselves and what our own feelings are telling us about what we need to do. I have taken time for this, and it's made a difference in how I'm feeling about my responses to the days and the challenges ahead. So I strongly urge you to make some time to sit with yourself and your heart and pay some attention to what your heart is telling you about what you're feeling and what you need to do, and then do it. I think if you take this time, you're going to find that it makes a difference. I wanted to close with something inspiring, and I found a really good quote that I wasn't expecting to find from Ezekiel, a book I haven't turned to a lot in the Bible, one I didn't know well, but it's a book of prophecy and hope. It has this great quote that I thought really works for our times. I will give you a new heart, and I will put a new spirit in you. I will take out your stony, stubborn heart, and I will give you a tender and responsive heart. A tender and responsive heart can be a surprising source of strength in these days. So heed the tenderness of your heart. Take good care. I love you lots, and I miss you. Carry the flame.